Hello, welcome to the Bronze Age Monsters bonus show. This is a show we do each and every week, normally for just our loyal patrons. For this one, we are releasing it to the public because we have reformatted our bonus show. On our main show, we've gone to where the main show is going to be released every other week. But if you're a Patreon supporter, you will get a show of ours every week. The alternate weeks will be what we normally did as the bonus show. Before in the past, we've talked about movies. Matt has lovingly paired movies to the comics that we've done, and we might do some of that later on down the road. But in the reformatting, it's basically going to be what Matt has been calling the shadow show of our main show. So we're going to be talking about a completely different comic storyline that is also in the Bronze Age, so still in our wheelhouse. We're going to be talking about Ulysses' Bloodstone, the Bloodstone Saga, the original one. And yeah, so this is something that you can absolutely enjoy in audio format. It is meant to be enjoyed in video format. Matt works really hard and edits these things together. If you want to see the video format of this, all you have to do is become a Patreon member, a patron of ours. And you can do that at patreon.com/bronzeagemonsters. There's lots of different tiers for you to do that. I think at the $3 tier and above, you should be able to access the video version of this. That's going to be with the art from the comic. Panels, all of it very well made. And so, yeah, I would prefer and suggest that you do that. But if not, you can just have this little taste that we're going to give you today. Today, we're going to be talking about Marvel Presents number 1, which is Bloodstone. It's the first appearance of Ulysses Bloodstone, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. So, Matt, tell us a little bit about why you chose this. This is a character near and dear to your heart.
Yes, he is. This is a character that always was kind of skirting around the edge of my knowledge of the Marvel Universe. And I'd always see like this issue and the following issue in long boxes when I was a kid. And I was just obsessed with this idea of this kind of adventurer, monster hunter guy with this jewel embedded like my precious man-wolf had. And I thought he was so cool looking. He's like Doc Savage meets, some kind of other adventurer character like that, but he has a mystical element because he has this magic gem embedded in his sternum. So it just checks a lot of boxes for me. Monsters, adventurer, it's got kind of a pulp vibe to it. So I've always been a little obsessed with him. And somewhere in the aughts, I finally found the Rampaging Hulk backups where he has some short stories that John Warner wrote with, I think, Rudy Nebris doing most of the art. And it just looks so cool. I've just always wanted to read it, and I've never had the chance to do it, really. And this seemed like this was the top of my list of, like, if we can dive into a little bit deeper and a little more obscure, that I'm saying more obscure, speaking in the sense of prior to the Werewolf by Night special. He's not a household name, but he's a much more popular name now because of his appearance. But he was a short-lived character. He died off pretty soon. And then, like I said in the main show, he kind of cast a longer shadow around. The Bloodstone was important in the Marvel Universe. Captain America chased after, as well as like Baron Zemo and some other characters. Like Bloodstone fragments became important. Then his daughter appeared in the around 2001. And Elsa Bloodstone. And so this guy's been kind of retconned to be a piece of shit in the modern Marvel Universe. They slowly revealed that Elsa, her training by her father was borderline, if not straight out abusive, physically and emotionally. So he's become kind of a villainous character. That's probably the one that's reflected more in the Werewolf by Night special. But I wanted to go back to the source, the original one, when he's actually a heroic kind of monster hunter and adventurer, and see him before they decided to make him edgy or whatever.
Yeah, I was excited because, we've known each other 2 decades, and you have definitely talked about Ulysses Bloodstone over the years, especially since we started doing a comic podcast. And you're right. Our good friend Michael Giacchino ended up putting Ulysses and Elsa in the Werewolf by Night Disney Plus special, and kind of definitely revived interest in all of the characters. And it's so funny. We've had Michael on so many times. I don't know if we've had like the Ulysses Bloodstone conversation with him.
I don't think we have.
We haven't at all. So, Michael, we're going to probably have to have you come on, and at least we'll have a nice Bloodstone conversation with you.
That'd be fun. So this, I did a little bit of research on this. This is nothing too deep. You can find this on Wikipedia, but this character was created by Lynn Wein, Marv Wolfman, and John Warner. And the idea was that he was a hero who would fight monsters, and he would be a backup, a 10-page backup that appeared in the back of Where Monsters Dwell. And so they all developed this character together, and we've talked a bit on the show last season about the implosion that happened around 75. All the monster titles stopped selling as well, and so they just started slaughtering them. I mean, decimated the lines. And so this was one of those victims of that. So Mike Vosberg was assigned for the first installment, the first 10-page story, and then they had Pat Boyette on. We'll talk about him. I'm hoping you'll talk a bit about Pat Boyette. I love Pat Boyette. Mm-hmm. He did the next chapter. And so Where Monsters Dwell folded before this could happen. So they said, hey, let's take those first two installments that we had planned for Where Monsters Dwell, put them together, and start a new title and launch this guy. And much like with Dead of Night and Scarecrow, they had these plans like, let's put him here, let's put him here, let's put him here. And it just kept collapsing and folding as 75 rolled on and sales collapsed on monster books.
Yeah.
So he kind of went in stasis for a little bit. John Warner was forced to, he had a second chance in issue 2 of this, Marvel Presents, to wrap up the entire story. And he had thought a lot about this and plotted out this huge cosmic scale, grand, epic story. And he was told he had 18 pages to wrap it up with issue 2. So he did what he could and wrote a long letter in that issue to kind of explain not how he wanted to do it, but he had to. And then the Rampaging Hulk stuff happened and he actually got to do it later. So I'm really excited to talk about this stuff this season.
Yeah, me too. It's completely new to me. I definitely have not read any of this Bronze Age Ulysses Bloodstone, and really have not encountered him in anything I've really read. I don't think I have.
Yeah, he shows up in flashback. Obviously he dies pretty early on, so he shows up in flashbacks some, and they retconned one of the Atlas era monster books and said that some random guy from an Atlas monster book was actually Ulysses Bloodstone with a pseudonym, like undercover fighting a monster. I don't know why they did stuff like that, but they decided to retcon him into the early 60s.
Okay.
With
Sure.
one appearance, which seems to have no bearing on anything, but maybe we'll look at that at one point. I don't know.
Cool.
But for this first inaugural Bloodstone Saga episode, we're going to talk about the first part. So as I mentioned, this is 2 backup stories put together in one issue. We're just going to look at the first one, and this is the one that had the art by Mike Vosberg. And I was excited to see some more of his stuff. I think we saw him in Savage She-Hulk when we were doing the Man-Wolf season.
That's right. That was the last time that we saw him. Yeah, I mean, if you've listened to the show, we've talked a lot about all of these creators, actually. Well, yeah, you want to jump into the issue?
Yeah, let's just do it.
Cool.
So, I love this cover, by the way. So we got Marvel Presents Bloodstone. This is my birth year and month, October of 75, cover dated. And a very classic-looking cover here of the Ulysses Bloodstone leaping off towards a green giant monster, very Atlas era kind of Kirby-esque creature. It says, fear-fraught first issue. He has lived for untold centuries, but today is the day he may die. Demon from the depths. And again, this is an issue that I saw countless times flipping through long boxes when I was like 10 or 11. And I was just always drawn to that glowing gem and his safari outfit. What do you think of this cover?
I love this cover. But yeah, as my first introduction to Ulysses Bloodstone in this issue, yeah, you're right. I mean, he's just a pastiche of Doc Savage and just a bunch of different characters, but it all works for some reason, like the long flowing blonde
Khazar
locks.
hair.
Yeah, it's Khazar too. And then in this cover is amazing. So he's jumping towards this monster that we'll meet in the story. One hand, he's got a rifle. The other hand, he's got like some kind of ceremonial sword. And again, the bloodstone just embedded in his chest. And I saw this cover. I was like, shit, yeah, man.
And, a funny thing happens here. I don't want to step on your next page, but we've seen this before when there's a creature that's green on the cover, and then you open it and they're orange.
Yeah, I know.
And that has to be a color theory thing. Like what they must have like done, like what sells type of thing. Because remember we were talking to our friend Tim Tucker, and he was talking about how they did some color swapping because they found like green sold well as opposed to like I think it was orange and some other color, so they avoided those on covers.
Yeah. So maybe, I don't know. But yeah, it's a cool cover.
And I love the title, the art for his title. It's so badass.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, the font and just the way the block letters with the little relief in the back. Yeah, very, very cool. And the porthole of him is pretty cool too.
Yeah.
TM. Porthole gets a TM. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's jump in. So, Stan Lee presents Bloodstone. Title is Dweller from the Depths. Our cast of creators, we've got John Warner, writer, Mike Vosberg, artist, Bob McLeod, inker, Diane B., colorist, Tom Orzakowski, letterer, and Len Wein, editor. Like I said, if you're listening to this, you've probably listened to our show before. We've had all of these people on the show, all their work, a lot. John Warner, we saw a lot of him, obviously, from our Son of Satan series. And
the End of the Mummy.
And the End of the Mummy, that's right. Yeah, so we love John Warner. We think that he's a really cool storyteller whose stories are cut short a lot.
Yeah.
So,
so Where Monsters Dwell got axed the same time that Living Mummy did. So he had two books that collapsed under him right when he started them.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah, because he's so cool, such a talented guy. Like you were saying earlier, the last time we saw Mike Vosberg was in the Man-Wolf issues of Savage She-Hulk. I do recommend go back and listen if you want to listen to two guys just lose their absolute fucking minds over how cosmic and amazing those issues are. Then please, go back to those Savage She-Hulk issues because they are unreal cool. Bob McLeod, we've seen in a bunch of stuff too. His other issue on the newsstand this month is Marvel Spotlight 24 featuring Son of Satan.
Goddamn right.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. Diane B. is Diane Buscema, who sadly at this time is still trying to track down the 45 pieces of her father's art that was stolen from their house in 2020. That's John Buscema is her father, and his art was stolen.
Shame.
Yeah. So
we've seen her before?
Yeah, because we talked about that before. I thought we saw her, if not on the Savage She-Hulk, maybe on some of the Spider-Woman issues that we went through, if I'm correct.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah. Because I remember telling the story about that art. So like you said, the color of our monster has changed. He is now all orange. And we open on this giant orange fish man. It looks like he's throwing a tantrum in San Francisco Bay. That's on the right. And on the left, we see a man with a flute. Sitting cross-legged, kind of watching him. We have some inset panels of him. Yeah, he just looks like he's wearing some dark shades. He looks like a beatnik sitting cross-legged playing the flute.
So you know who I would cast for this?
Who?
For the man? Michael Moriarty from Q, the Winged Serpent, and the stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're not going to get any argument with me because both of us love Michael Moriarty, specifically from Q, the Winged Serpent.
Yeah.
So, but you're right. That would be perfect. And the sounds the monster's making is just ridiculous. Uraru, Kartan, Guarm. It's just haven't seen those before.
No. It's funny that the big monsters got kind of popular again for a minute. Like when they started reprinting monster books during the monster boom, they sold well. So someone just realized, well, we should just do all this again, right? With the Living Colossus and everything else. And it was just, I think it was more of a fluke.
Probably was more of a fluke, but between you and I don't think we think monsters are ever out of season.
No, never.
Oh.
So yes, we bust into our first real full page here, and we have the destruction of the pier happening. Guarm. I tried to struggle to figure out how to say Zax.
Sax.
Guskoosh. Some of the sound effects in here are amazing too. We have some of the people on the docks looking at them and freaking out, snapping the frail timber like matchsticks. Oh, Lord, what is that thing? And I love that third panel where he's just kind of like looming up and this guy's silhouetted crotch as he's like running away in the foreground.
I loved that.
Very King Kong, right? And he's like, I don't care what that is. I just want to put some distance between me and that. Creek?
Yeah, why is there a question mark after Creek?
Because he's like, where are you guys going? Hey, who we ditching, guys? Guys, who we ditching? So he starts climbing out of the water after them. And then I couldn't tell in this next to the last panel, is he getting rocked? Did he get rocked by Ulysses there?
I think he did, yes. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. But yeah, the anatomy on that last panel is a little weird. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I was confused by that action, to be honest. And so he flies into a warehouse on the pier, and then we see in this last panel this figure mostly in silhouette. It's regarding him, Creek. Shadows stir and slowly remold their shape. Footsteps resound, dominating even the sounds of carnage that violate the still, fog-dampened air. The figure steps forward. Great entrance.
It is a really cool entrance. But it continues on the next page. Wow. I love this full reveal of Ulysses. And his little tunic. It's like a little skirt.
Yeah.
Great belt. I don't know. I loved it. I thought he looked badass right from the go. And so, yeah, got to read his opening lines, though. It says, so it begins again, moving, always moving, never knowing, following impulses. Then they appear, the monsters, the creatures, pitiful misfits in the schemes of nature. And again, I am here, for such is my destiny, the destiny of Ulysses Bloodstone.
Neil Breen?
Yeah. It was just the right amount of ridiculousness, which I love, but it also it shows us, it tells us almost everything right there.
Dude, look at his outfit though, like that dagger on his wristband, and then ankle. What do you even call those?
I don't even
spurs?
Know. Yeah, they're like if Namor's little wings were knives. Like, it just doesn't.
It's so badass though, because you realize, like, okay, he's a monster fighter. He fights these things all the time. That's how he climbs. Like, it's like a mountain climber, right? Like he sticks that in creature flesh and climbs up on top of them to fight them. I love that.
That's a great point. Yeah, it's awesome. The narration explains a little bit about him, talking about how he moves with animal precision. And it says, if he had any questions, they were cultivated and forgotten long ago. 10,000 years to be exact. So I love that little drop that they do, that he's over 10,000 years old and has been fighting monsters the entire time. And so, he instantly leaps at this orange monster. And as he's about to probably go for the kill that he's made so many times before, it says, but in mid-leap, like a sudden blast of shrapnel in his mind, there is a sound, or perhaps rapture. And so he's, it looks like the guy just kind of flicks him off, right? And Ulysses falls to the ground. It says, but Bloodstone is given no time to contemplate the inflections of vocabulary. Because, the monster is just still screaming gibberish, which I didn't quite fully get on board for during this story.
Yeah. I did like this note, though, like, was that... it was in a Scarecrow story where there was like that otherworldly flute player, and it's like this kind of like cosmic weird, like I don't know what it was, shepherd or something. Like, I love these weird notes like this kind of Lovecraftian stuff just creeping in, like the music of Eric Zahn or whatever, and it's affecting him as well as this creature. So we're already getting this hint that he is bound to the monsters that he fights. Yeah. So you get the note of he's 10,000 years old and he's got a connection to these things somehow. The flute music is affecting him as well as them. I missed Warner, man.
I know. Warner's great.
He's great.
Yeah, his narration's really great. I love the way he crafts a story. And we really got to know him. I mean, through the Son of Satan, through his title series. And we've had Warner, like you say, in Cantu last season, and Yeah, he's really grown on me.
Yeah, I mean, the Son of Satan title proper was, I think, 8 issues.
Yeah.
We got Nightfire, we got Possessor. I mean, that was such a fun run. We absolutely loved the stuff he did with that book. So, that page ended with this creature chucking Ulysses onto this dock, this shattered remains of a dock. And he reacts quickly and spins around and kind of lands like a cat on his feet, and then whips around and grabs the rifle from a little pack on his back and pulls it out, and it says, "Enough of this. Don't know what that sound was, you or him. But even if you don't know what you're doing or why," and he's putting shells into his rifle, his shotgun, he says, "I do," and blasts up at the thing. Quabam. It continues with a strange language. And he starts shooting down at his feet towards the dock. "Having half the waterfront wrapped around you should keep you too occupied for you to worry about what I'm doing or to make sudden noises in my head." So he's still confused that the strange flute music that's happening, he doesn't know if it's coming from the creature or what, but he's just going to start blasting, shooting the ground around the creature, and maybe the dock will collapse. He's just being proactive. I love this. Problem solving. He's very proactive.
God, in that last panel of him just
leaping.
I think it's freaking like wire work or something.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's awesome. No, him just pulling the rifle from, the satchel and loading it. I don't know. I love just how instantly badass this character is.
Yeah. And talking while you're loading your shotgun up. Mm-hmm. It's just, it's just an instant cue that this guy's a badass.
Yeah, I love it. So the next page. So Monster's still making the ridiculous stuff. But as he was leaping, it said, "Unfortunately, things have a way of working out contrary to one's designs." Ulysses is like, "Pain, blasted pain." As again, Bloodstone's head becomes a blaze of pain, like the squelch of a dagger twisting mercilessly inside him. So I mean, every time he tries to make, a badass hero move against this goofy looking and talking monster, it's just instant pain. It sounds like something he's not experienced in the 10,000 years he's fought monsters.
Yeah.
So he just gets thrown into the bay. It says, "For a moment, the world seems to shatter, falling around him, sucking him in. Then time slows, drifting, wafting him down dreamily like a pearl through oil."
I love that.
Oh, fucking Warner. God damn. Love him. And then, so he's just kind of, like out of the picture right now. And it says, "And above, for the monster, there's peace as well. The calm of silence, the serenity of absence, the absence of a mere sound." And it says the creature seems to pause longingly before the city. And he's just getting ready to, start fucking shit up like monsters do to cities.
I love that big panel. I like the inset, but I love the big one of him, his arm wrapped around the clock tower.
It's his drunk buddy.
Yeah. But he's just getting ready to do the drunken, rake it off and just start just smashing everything. So then we cut back into the bay, and it says calm, and we get this strange city in the background. I love this, where it's like hints of Atlantis or something, or otherworldly, maybe extra dimensional. We don't know yet. And he's unconscious there, adrift with some shards of wood. It says water swirls, gradually a montage of surface light dancing hypnotically about. And there's this robed figure. I love this guy holding what appears to be the same stone that is in Ulysses' sternum. And up above it, it's glowing. And then in the foreground, we get this huge version of it with all the facets. Each facet has a different face, distorted and strange and surreal, of Bloodstone leering and raging and laughing maniacally and looming. And it's so strange. It says Ulysses Bloodstone's mind drifts and flickering light patterns become images that span all time and light, and names, many forgotten, lost to the dark catacombs of passing ages. And the stone, with its all too many facets, evil faces glaring at him from beyond. And so this strange vision he has while he's recovering from getting rocked by the creature and thrown into the bay, he wakes up and says, "The creature! In this last panel, I love this. It says, Bloodstone thrusts himself upward, tearing away from the dreams and memories. He fails to notice the phantom lurking furtively in the shadows, a phantom which is less than reality, but which is far more than mere light play illusion. And again, we have another kind of this hint of like above we had that strange city, which should almost be like something from the Mountains of Madness or something like that. It feels alien and strange and like nothing we've ever seen before in our world. And then you have this strange creature on the bottom that has very human eyes that is watching Ulysses as he breaks the surface and gasps for air. So some strange thing that's definitely not an octopus is watching him, and he's aware of it.
Yeah, that was such a cool little note at the end there. I was like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, I love that.
What a great page.
Yeah, that was a great page. I love that probably my favorite page of the story.
Oh, yeah.
But I love that little guy. He reminds me of like, you know, the thing that Lopan has in Big Trouble in China that's like the eyes and it's got the eye in his mouth. It's like one of those things, right? Like, you know, it's sending signals back to somebody.
Yep. No, you're right. Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, next page we see that Ulysses, pulls himself out of the bay, looks around, and he's like, gone. He's like, but it's out there. I sense it. As he comes to the street, says, then again, I have the feeling I won't even need my tracking sense in a city like this. Because, people are pointing to the sky and hiding behind cars, squished cars. So he's like, I'll probably be able to find him. Okay. And then, as he falls silent, he concentrates instead on the emanations pulsating from the gem in his chest. I did like that. So again, we're realizing that this gem is part of his... It helps him hunt monsters. It senses them. It sends them towards him. And so he's running, and then suddenly we see cops. The cops like, keep these people back. The rest of you, bring up the small stuff. We have to avoid artillery at all costs.
Well, escalated quickly.
I know. I was like, Jesus, all right. Like, it's time to carpet bomb San Francisco Bay. But so then we go to the monster who looks pretty goofy. I don't know. Every time this monster is destroying something, he just looks really weird. Like he's really bad at breakdancing, or I don't know exactly what he's doing.
He looks like he's got like a dad bod and he's trying to seduce his wife because it's the one night of the week they have sex or something. He's doing some sexy dance.
Yeah. Kids are asleep.
Yeah. It's business time.
It's business time.
Yeah, he does look a little goofy. He's for me so far like the weak point of the story is this
100%. He's so dumb.
Monster.
Super dumb.
So the next page though, we do cut up to like up rooftop level looking at him closer up. He always looks cooler closer up. Like you said, like when it's a full body action of him, he looks a little goofy, but whenever it's closer up, he looks a little more sinister and interesting. So he's like pulling like cable car wires or something, electrical cables down. The cops are shooting at him, bacow, kapow. And there are cries of fear and panic as the crowd falls back. But then, and Ulysses Bloodstone, just being a badass, like doing like parkour or whatever, like sprints up, somehow gets up through, it has to be like parkour, and gets up and like gets up to his level. It's like, I got to get this creature out of here, away from these people, as he kicks him in the face with those ankle spurs, which I fucking love.
There you go.
And then we get that cool inset of this mysterious flute player playing this otherworldly song that's affecting everybody, the monster and Ulysses. And then awesome badass panel of him firing his shotgun again. From down below, we see this. The crowd's still kind of reacting. Who is that man? What's he doing? Wait, something seems to be wrong. And then, so the sound happens again. Ulysses is rocked by the sound. It's got to be like the most piercing, disruptive, weird, like neurological, whatever, like inhibitor. That sound again. But I'm not letting it stop me this time. We get a cool close-up of his eyes, a sweat starting to come down his brow from the pain of this noise in his skull. Can't stop to think. Gotta keep firing. Keep the monster at a disadvantage as the monster falls back and destroys some probably 100-year-old building. Is this San Francisco? Did we discuss? Yeah. Yeah. Well, oh well.
Yeah.
There's no tourism trade down on the pier, I don't think.
No.
On the wharf.
It's unknown. Yeah, no, I agree. Like every time you see Ulysses on this page, he just looks ultimately badass. Every single panel, he looks great. Especially that close up on his eyes and his kind of furrowed brow, sweating. That's awesome.
I love the line work on that.
Yeah. So yeah, next page it says he says, my head's still bursting, then it can't be the monster. Must be. And I like how he turns around and there's this guy, and like, yeah, we see the guy and he's in a suit and his glasses. He looks like Gogo 13 or something. Like, and he's running away. He's like, oh, I saw him before on the docks, but my head throbbing, can hardly think. It's got to be that flute. It must be fighting the monster too. Then as I'm realizing, I'm just like, okay, this is a flute story. It's all about the flute. Yeah. We've been thinking monster. We've been thinking Monster Hunter. Nope. Flute.
It's flautist. It's acid jazz played by some cool cat. Fucking everything up.
I love that his first thing. He's like, you. And he shakes his fist at him. He's like, you stop playing that. like he's an old man. He's trying to say, he's like, stop playing that flute. And then the guy, just whips out, uses that flute, and just knocks Ulysses back. And he says, oh, this is no ordinary man. He's inhabited. Only one thing to do. And then, he does that amazing move that you'll see in comics where, just holds his hands together and just whomps this guy into a wall, just crushing. Obviously, if this is a normal person, he's just dead. But and Ulysses knows this. He says, forgive me, you who are trapped even as I am.
I love all the little breadcrumbs of like backstory that are getting dropped here, right? Like, he's inhabited. Like, that's just such a loaded description for this guy. And I'm immediately in, right? Like, anytime there's that type of like possessed, like body snatcher or whatever type of thing, where it's like, this guy is not this guy. He's been taken over by something way more sinister and cosmic or whatever. I'm totally in.
Yeah, I loved that how, the monster's really goofy in this. And on the surface, this is a pretty goofy story. But I like that it's not being spoon-fed to us. You're right. Like, they leave these little breadcrumbs. And Warner is so good at doing that. For a lesser writer, he would have wrote some narration to explain it or to like shine light on it and be like, ooh, pay attention to this. Like, this is something. But any time that like, real plot points are just kind of thrown away in a real cool way, that's I don't know, that's respecting your reader.
I agree 100%. Like, it's like The Wire or something like that, where it's, or The Sopranos, where it's just like, we're not going to tell you who's who and what's what. You're dropped in the middle of this world and you have to pay attention and piece it together. It's not my job. It's your job to be an audience member. And I respect that.
Yeah, me too. I love it.
Because I feel like I'm being treated with respect. So, last page here of this first chapter of the story. The beast is recovering, Creek. And he says, look out, Lord, the monster's loose again. So it's recovering. There's already a lot of rubble and downed buildings and broken glass. Uh-oh.
Oh, big glass.
Big glass.
Drink to that.
Right. All right. So the creature lumbers off. It understands little of the people scurrying away in fear. The pain in its mind is gone, and it has wounds to heal. Ulysses' Bloodstone starts to pursue, but is stopped, and then we hear otherworldly laughter. We see the source of the laughter, and Ulysses says, you! And as he's recognizing this threat, he's already pulled that dagger out of his wristband and thrown it at this thing. And it's that strange little one-eyed octopoid thing. Blasted telepathic emanation. Again, just day in the life of this guy, but all new to us.
Yep.
And below him, we see the flute player unconscious. So the inhabitant of the flute player was this thing. It was possessing him and using him as a vessel to do these earthly acts. And it's pulled out of his body and is careening off. We see in the last row here, the first panel, that dagger finds the wooden warehouse, so it's missed its mark. And Ulysses runs over to the unconscious guy that was the inhabited. He says he still has a pulse, but he's hurt bad, maybe dying. The monster can wait. So he picks the guy up and he's lumbering him off through all the rubble of the wharf down of San Francisco. A cop comes up. Hey, you, where are you going? We have questions. But for now, those questions remain unanswered as Bloodstone stalks away into the night. End part 1. So that was your introduction, huh?
Yeah, that's my introduction to this character. And what a badass. I mean, goofy as shit monster. But
yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're just dropped into this totally badass, awesome looking character, and you want to know everything right away, but nope, they're just going to kind of just leave you a little trail to follow. Got to pay attention, got to pick up on all this stuff. So, yeah, just like we've been going on about. I mean, I love that. I love that way of storytelling. It's so cool.
Me too. It reminds me a lot of, the way Scott Edelman did stuff with the Scarecrow, just kind of
Yeah.
dropping these allusions to the cult of Kalumai and whatever. And we've fought for millennia, and like, oh man, I want to know all of it now. But
I know.
you know you're going to enjoy it more if you just get it pieced out. So, so that was the first chapter that was intended for Where Monsters Dwell before it was canceled. As I read some quotes from, Kraft, from Warner, saying that he had definitely meditated on this thing. He created this entire backstory, had this whole huge arc going on, like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode here. So he knew where he wanted to go. He had the big beats all figured out, and he was very excited to get going on this, and was super bummed that after this issue, which we're going to see the next 10 pages in a couple weeks here, he had to just kind of put a bow on it and move on. Same thing happened to our good friend Mr. Kraft when he had the whole Man-Wolf Star God saga in his mind and had this whole story that he'd been working on since high school, and started telling that story, and then was told he had one issue to wrap it all up.
I know.
So, so I don't know if you have any thoughts you want to share beyond what we kind of shared while we went on there, but.
No, just that I'm really excited to kind of continue and learn more about this character. Yeah, I'm all in now. You got me.
Cool. I'm excited for that. As you mentioned at the top, like we used to do kind of lengthier movie reviews that were paired with the issue we read. We're not going to do that this season, but I honestly, we didn't talk about this beforehand, but I honestly just want to get to like the like a movie minute thing, like because we do watch alongs on the Discord and we love doing that, but I want to keep it super brief. So we did watch a movie to kick off this season. We're trying to do something paired to Creature Commandos. I honestly feel like I'm going to abandon the World War II horror theme pretty fast because it's kind of a thin list, and most of them are modern, most of them are cheap and kind of stupid. Yeah, so we'll sprinkle them in here and there, but I think we'll probably just kind of fall back on werewolf, vampire, Frankenstein stuff and just kind of have some more fun with it, whatever. And just maybe throw in a random El Santo or something, but just kind of keep it fun and weird. But so we did pick one that we watched, which was 1990's The Lost Platoon, which was written and directed by David A. Pryor. And this is a director that I knew from the previous podcast I did that Jacob guested on, That's Cool, That's Trash, where we talk about psychotronic weird movies. We saw one of the first shot-on-video slasher movies called Sledgehammer that he did. It's like shot on Betacam, I think. And then he made a Rambo-inspired action movie called Deadly Prey, which I highly recommend. It is incredibly entertaining. It's like eating cotton candy and popcorn for dinner. It is over the top. You've probably seen famous GIFs of some of the kill scenes in it. It's that entertaining and bizarre. So I was really excited for this one. I thought, I love David A. Pryor. I can't wait to see this one. And we watched it. And I got angry.
You did get angry. Now, I thought it's so goofy and stupid. I mean, just very quickly, it's just, the Lost Platoon. And it's basically these guys who have been together fighting wars for 100 years, sometimes more than 100 years. And they are vampires, but you wouldn't ever know it until like 50 minutes into the movie when you finally see some fangs.
They don't even feed.
No, they don't feed. They don't feed. They feed on war. That's what they feed on. No. Yeah. It's supremely bad. I was very entertained by it. I laughed a lot. Our Discord watch-alongs are really amazing and fun. I know you were personally invested, Matt, in this. Like, you love this director.
I do.
You expected a lot. I had no expectations. So I went into it and I had a blast. I thought it was hilariously bad. And I kept just marveling at the choices being made and laughing at them. So I had a good time.
I didn't expect quality. I expected entertainment. Like, I feel like this guy can deliver on, like, he knows what people want and he can deliver it in spades. So the fact that this was so boring and so poorly made, and looked like it was all filmed, I forgot where we saw where it was filmed, like on like Tennessee or something, or West Virginia. And it's supposed to be Nicaragua. Tons of firefights that are totally unconvincing and uninteresting. Incredibly dull.
It's really dull.
A movie about vampires that don't seem to feed and don't seem to be interested in being vampires. They're essentially just immortal.
Yeah.
I did love that kill scene in the beginning. They actually got me through the whole film, where there's a bunch of like local peasants. They round up and they tell them you're going to be set free, and then they just mercilessly gun them all down. And but before they start gunning them down, they're like, "Say goodbye, you're free." And they're like, "Bye," and they just keep waving, even as they're all being gunned down. That actually got me through the film. Like, that was the gas in the tank that got me through the next hour.
So funny. Oh God, that was amazing.
Yeah. So, and the villain was one of the worst actors I've seen in a film in a long time. Like, just
maybe the worst I've ever seen.
Yeah. So I might have put a clip or two in here. I'm not sure if I'm even going to bother, because I was angry about it. But
yeah, you were.
I haven't picked the next one, so I don't know what we're watching next. But we'll figure it out. But we'll keep the reviews short like this, and just kind of, if you want to see it, it's on YouTube. Put it that way. Pretty sure it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
I would not recommend it. It would be a claw down from Matt Howell.
It'd be a claw down from me too, but I still did have a lot of fun.
Okay. Well, that's good.
But yeah, so, in this new format for our bonus show, we're probably, we're going to pepper in little movie reviews, a little bit of bio stuff here and then, if Matt and I either have a story or two to tell. But for the most part, it's going to be pretty pared down, because we're dealing with an entire different storyline than we are on the A show. So yeah, I'm really excited to kind of focus on Ulysses Bloodstone, learning more about him, going through his adventures as they go through Rampaging Hulk, and then immediately stop.
Yep. And if for some reason you fall in love with him and you need more, we can do the Captain America storyline with Cap and Diamondback trying to hunt down the shards. I don't know. Figure out.
That could be too cool too. So
there's a lot of stuff to cover.
Yeah, so if you are listening to this in our main feed and are interested in what we're doing, or at least seeing the video version of what we're doing, then go over to Patreon and check us out. See if any of the tiers interest you and all the bonus stuff that we have. We have a ton of bonus stuff. If you have access to the archives of what we have an immense amount of bonus stuff, all lovingly crafted by my partner, Matt Howell. There's audio dramas. There's tons of these bonus shows. There's all sorts of other different things. There's music. There's, I don't know. I just feel like our Patreon content is pretty high tier. So check it out yourself. See if anything interests you, and if it does, subscribe to one of the tiers.
Yes, and just a clarifying note. This will be available video. This first one will be available. Oh, cool.
Too. Okay.
So,
all right.
Both formats.
Great. Yeah. So this is a good taste, exactly, of what we're going to be doing this season. So, so as we sign off, we started doing this in the Son of Satan episode season, and we've just kept it up because we know of no other way to end the bonus show than basically just being like, thanks for listening. Hail Satan.
Hail Satan. Oh, that, by the way, that's the bonus show.
Oh.